this next year is decide with pen to paper what we're going to do in terms of tackling the larger vision of the road and bridge projects. And we talked last meeting a little bit about whether we want to declare some truck routes before harvest. We need to do that in the next 2 weeks if we're going to do that by resolution. And we can do that by declaring them as temporary truck routes, but we need some time to get some signage out there if we're going to do that so that we understand what harvest would look like. I think that's the next thing that needs to be done. I think at the next meeting, in addition to reviewing the petition for submission to district court or the car, right, we go on ahead and get through this truck route.
Okay, can I add something?
Please.
So at harvest, all the grain comes from every direction possible. Would the truck route make more sense when the grain's going out of the elevator? So it would give us a little more time.
So I think it's it would give us a little bit more time, right? I think what I would try to do is this year, instead of even trying to declare with a resolution, let's get them to line up. I know everything's coming in from multiple directions, but let's get everybody to line up in one direction. You see what I mean? That might, I know that it's not going to be easy to do that.
Okay.
But if we have a way in and a way out, at least we know what we're trying to do. You see where I'm going with that? Like, I think if we get everybody to line up to get into the elevator instead of having 3 or 4 different ways in, one way in, okay? All I can give is the elevators that I grew up with, right? If I'm pulling into Peck, there's 4 different ways into town, but there's one way to line up for the elevator.
Sure.
If I'm in Andale, Kansas, everybody lines up in one direction, right? So everybody's coming in different directions. But if everybody lines up in one way, then we can start getting people used to that. Does that make sense?
I think so.
That's what I would do. You don't need to have a resolution. Let them declare the line. Let them decide.
Well, I also think if we're gonna be doing signs, what you do is because getting the signs ordered, getting the signs installed. That's its own project, but the way you do it is you would get the signs ordered, installed, bag them,
Yes.
right? So nobody's paying it, nobody's reading it and going, what's going on here? I don't know anything about this.
Yeah.
Keep them bagged until
It's time.
it's time, and then say, hey, we're gonna roll this project out.
Yep.
And we announce it, we get plenty of time out there, and we say, you will see the signs, that are declaring truck routes or whatever. And that's the way you go about it, instead of trying to get them out, and try to get it going. It's gonna be, like he says, it's gonna be cumbersome, but plus also that gives us enough time to let harvest happen, and then as grain starts going out of the grain bins, we start addressing it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And Commissioner Pollock, I can see on your face, there's some thoughts, but I
Yeah.
want to say, this is not to enforce things against people. The only reason why I'm suggesting that the time is now is if you've only got 2 seasons when it's heavy. Okay? You can do a lot of theory
Right.
in December, but you can't practice it until the first of the 2 harvests.
Just, my comment was on, I don't know about the other elevators, but Powhatan, you come in from the east or you come in from the west.
Right.
And then usually they used to just take turns, they knew where they were.
Yep.
But I'm not sure, it seemed like maybe they circle around now and get in line that way, but they come in from both directions and then they get in line. So,
And I think that's okay, depending on the flow. I'm not saying that you should stop that. I'm just saying that if there's gonna be a plan where people are coming in, right? And you're gonna improve one side of the road to allow that to happen, right? Let's try it this year, right? I don't think we need to do it if they're just a truck route in and out. If that's what we're focused on is when they're hauling grain out, right? Instead of hauling grain in, which is probably the easiest thing to do, then that's what I do. So that seemed like the next project that's easily grasped. And then at the same time, I think next week is the time for the petition. To see the draft petition come through, and then we have some other stuff that's going on in the background. That spaces things out. We should have quotes. I think the goal is to have quotes back. I don't know where our existing provider is. Nikki, maybe we try to follow up with that to figure out where they're at with renewals, because I thought they thought we'd have more numbers October 1 on their end. Yeah. It seems like that's every year. You're gonna get numbers in October into November for renewal. That's when you're gonna be able to make your final decision. So other than that, I think if that's the goal, we have some other administrative stuff in the back end. We're still waiting for some agreements that I don't know when they're gonna come from the tribe right now. And we've been waiting for the tribe agreement for a while.
You know what happened, is it, the whole, everything got switched around. They did a
Yeah.
recall, and so it's. But,
That's okay.
again, I mean, we've already received the material,
So it doesn't matter.
so.
It doesn't remind me like
It's
it's
kind
kind
of a moot point. But,
Yeah.
The other thing that I have for you is we have to come up with a draft for our dispatch agreement. And they've agreed upon the price of $125.
Okay.
So we need, whether it's a short form agreement or whatever you think would legally suffice, we need an agreement that basically we could give to the city. Originally, they were gonna draft something up and send it over. That's not happening, so they've asked that we do it. So,
I'll have that for next week.
okay, now also, I believe that some of the things that has to talk about is how we want to get paid. Is it gonna be monthly, quarterly, bi-yearly? What works for us? We gotta decide. So, you know, you need that in your agreement, so you could write it in, and then my suggestion would be, and you can have everybody's input on this, but we need to specify in that agreement that, there will be some sort of an escalator, whether it's like 1.75% a year or something, you know, under cost of living, whatever we come up with. I just think it needs to be in the agreement, because if we don't do that, it's gonna be one of those things where years go by and all of a sudden we're getting the exact same amount, and now we're sitting here going, hey, it's worth more. So if we could come up with what would be reasonable, what kind of an escalation yearly, whether it's COLA or.
I think so. I would suggest that you do cost of living for the local, so you don't have a national, because our cost of living usually is maybe a quarter to 0.75% below the national cost of living increase, because it's more affordable here, which is good. So I think we tie it to the regional cost of living.
Right.
And then I would also suggest on that, I would suggest monthly payments from a budgetary standpoint, because everybody has tax flow dollars that come in at different times. So the money chunks will come in, and if they budget for monthly, we have a monthly ongoing responsibility for that dispatch, so that covers the monthly. So I would suggest monthly payments.
Okay, so the agreement would say that it'd be monthly payments. It's 125, obviously divided by 12.
So
The agreement would show some sort of an escalation. And Nikki, can we lay out a 3-year agreement legally? Okay, I know that I've also heard something about counties can't enter into longer agreements because they don't know what their budgets are gonna be, you know.
So there's an element of the Kansas cash basis law which says that cannot bind subsequent governing bodies to the expenditure of funds outside of the infrastructure that is subject to annual budget appropriation. So we put some language in there for that. It is an interlocal agreement, most likely. You could do it potentially under KSA 122908. I like KSA 122904 for these dispatch agreements. I've used it in the past. It does require a signature of the Attorney General, so we'll have that additional stamp of approval. They usually turn those back around in less than a week.
Okay.
I would suggest that we use the form that was utilized in Sabetha, because they did a Sabetha dispatch agreement with Mohawk County. The Attorney General signed off on it quickly, and so I would suggest we use that.
What they do for their cost adjustment in that agreement?
I actually don't recall. We talked about the exact same thing. The cost adjustment was there. And I think they may have done we've explored different cost adjustments based upon different proposed structures. So one of the structures regarding Tech EMS, which is our emergency management, obviously of ambulance service. There's an annual escalator versus the cost of living potential increase that we looked at or explored there. And I just don't remember how they did it in the EMS contract, but they did put an escalator on it.
They did.
Right. Yep.
Is that something we absolutely need to do?
I think you would want to have an escalator, because I think if you don't, you find yourself in a position where you're not keeping up with the times. If you do that pretty quickly, 125 will feel like 100, about 6 years.
Okay,
And they're gonna have they have an opportunity to back out at any time too, and
That's
do
right.
their own dispatching. So it's not like we've got them tied up and they have to, if they decided at some point they want to dispatch themselves, that's fine.
so I'm coming this from I mean, they're right across the street and maybe we don't have. Is there any such thing as just a good faith, you know, hey, in 3 years, we're gonna talk about this again and negotiate it. But you feel more comfortable locking something in the contract. I mean, that's okay. I just, when you start talking that cost of living stuff, then that creeps into other places and budgets and.
Can I, be way too direct because I'm not.
Sure, I
a
love it.
budgetary consultant, okay, but if I were your budgetary consultant.
Uh-huh.
I would say that the annual cost of living increase that is experienced as a percentage figure for the area should be your annual percentage increase for a budget. Whether you take it from reserves or whether you go other places, if you don't hit that, you're not properly budgeting moving forward because that accounts for changes in commodities and wage rates.
Okay.
So whether you do that in terms of everybody getting an annual COLA increase or merit-based increases, that's a different conversation because you have budget that aligns with benefits and those types of things.
Okay.
But if you don't budget in that way, then you're almost cutting your funds every year. Because the commodities are naturally going up and that's figured into the local cost of goods.
So you drew the parallel that I, the budget slash, you know, some of the. Just some of the expenses.
That's right.
So, it was fine. You answered it. I'm good.
And to be fair about that, I mean, I looked at it, you know, the city's been doing, they're kind of the belief of 3% raises a year across the board. So if we go in and we ask for something that's less than 3%, how can they say no? They're giving out 3% raises. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I do, but 3%, I mean, after a while, that's. It's fine, if we need it in that document, I'm absolutely okay with it, I was just
So
asking.
do you have enough information to put together something that,
Yes, sir.
okay,
I
and
can
then
have it.
obviously we'll get it over to them and they have to agree to it, but.
All right,
we go that way.
Okay, sorry, I slowed the progress down, do you have more for us?
No, I
Austin, we
mean,
got a couple, 1 minute,
I think right now we have, so I have direction that I'm coming back with dispatch agreement for next week and a petition.
okay,
All right, and I've come back with, we have some other administrative loose ends that we're taking forward, but right now, those are the two deliverables for next week. Is there anything, and, next week is the meeting on the 31st. Is there anything else that you guys want from me for next week other than those two deliverables?
tell me again what you're delivering,
A draft petition for the disposition of the vehicles
Okay.
outside of the normal statutory process,
okay,
and then the dispatch agreement. At
okay,
125,000 with an annual
Okay.
monthly payment and a local cost of living escalator.
okay. All right, very good.
That's what I have.
Hey. Well, the next thing, and Mr. Markham's in the back here, 1:30, it's 1:29, he want to just come up. And we'll start the clock right away when it turns to 1:30. All right, it's 1:30. I'm gonna call for an executive session to discuss non-elected personnel, duties and performance with the three commissioners, county appraiser, county councilor, and county clerk. For 10 minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. 10 minutes puts it about 1:41-ish. All right, we're out of executive session, back into regular with no binding action taken. Is there anything you want to tell us while you're here? Just business or?
I mean, I did put together some. You had asked me to get an acronym list together.
Oh, yeah.
I did do that for you guys. I did consult with my staff to make sure that we had all the ones that we felt were
Sure.
relevant. They looked over the list that I had. Nikki, do you want those? Okay. So basically just a rundown of what you would ask me to do.
Okay.
I'm hoping that we got any, if there's any that we've overlooked that you hear or that we've missed, let me know. We'll get them added and I can get you an updated list.
Okay. Okay, well, I don't know what there would be. That's a lot of them.
Yeah, it's ones that we throw around a lot in the office, and so, most of those are on there. There's a couple other ones that I wouldn't have thought to put on there, but I think Marty came to me with them, and I think one that she had two of them on there too.
Okay, well, thank you. That's good. That'll be handy. I'll put it in my file.
All right,
Thank you for this.
anything else?
I think we're done.
Thank you guys.
Okay, next on our list, my check marks is the payroll from the 19th. Were there any questions or comments about that?
I didn't like to read executive session for my privilege.
Okay. Okay, we're looking at payroll. Can we finish that on through? All right. I had one question. I answered it myself. And then I had another one. So when an employee, a regular, an hourly employee, if they work their 80 hours in this pay period, they're still eligible for vacation and sick time? I'm not, I was, so what I'm guilty of is seeing it and I didn't take notes. I just know I saw it and I thought, well, that seems different. But I just thought I'd ask about it.
You can find out. I mean, you don't have to know right now, but you can talk to Barb and find out, right?
Okay, so in the courthouse, though, it's not possible. Okay, so then I must have seen it in that department. All right, I'm gonna go through here and I'll find out what I was talking about so I can ask intelligent. Oh, okay, well, yeah, here's one. Here's one with 80 hours, and then there's overtime, and then there's sick pay. So that would be 80 hours regular, 12 hours overtime, 12 and a half, and then 10 hours of sick pay. Okay.
So in other words, they were sick on 1 week, but
So when we figure overtime, it's on the 2 week period. Is that right? Okay, so maybe that's what happened. Maybe they worked 40 hours. And then we're sick. Well, actually, I'm not sure. I just have to ask.
Compensatory time. They're able to pay. I don't remember the further understanding exactly. We have to have this policy in place. The sheriff's department, law enforcement, of like 174 hours. They do their time in like 174 hours a year.
Okay,
So we gotta find out what the sheriff's department policy is on comp time.
I'll just ask.
They do sooner.
I was gonna say, why don't we start there? Ask him.
Yeah, I'll just call and ask him.
It's not right. It's not right.
So I just saw it. I didn't make the connection that it was specific to that one department. There it is. That's what I saw. So that's fine. Okay. And the other question I had answered itself because it was the same employee who works in 2 different departments. So fair enough. Other than that, is there any other questions or concerns or comments about the payroll? Is there a motion to approve it then?
Movie approved payroll.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, and you meant for August 19th, right, in your motion, so
Yep,
it's
yep.
been moved and seconded to approve the August 19th payroll. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. All right, you needed 10 minutes attorney-client privilege with us and you. Okay, I would make a motion for 10-minute executive session, attorney-client privilege with county commissioners and county council. President, is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. 10 minutes puts it about 1:57. executive session back into regular with no binding action taken. As far as, anybody have anything else for Austin before he takes off?
I do not.
I guess we'll be in contact throughout the week, then I can give you a call. I got it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Everybody.
okay, fair enough.
All right.
Thank you.
When we'll see you all.
All right. All right, the next thing I have is an internal property use with I think it was a date correction. I think is what it said. Is that right? Okay, so we're talking about where it says the 31st of October, 10 a.m. to 12. All right, so I see this is from the clerk for the election department for early voting on Saturday, October 31st from 10 to noon, the first floor lobby of here. So is there any questions on that?
No.
I didn't hear what you said. Was it-
Okay, so this just moves it from the 24th to the 31st. So I would make a motion then to approve this internal property use request. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Then moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? Not all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Now we'll just roll on, understanding we do have a 215 here with the treasurer. So the 190th road proposal. All right, Richard, you were all over that.
So right now we have a contractor that's working for the state on a state highway that is literally paving in front of this road. This road heads off to the east. It's the landfill road. And as you guys are all aware, it's pretty steep grade when you turn off the highway and go up over that hill.
Mhm.
And it's in poor condition. It's a chip and seal. And so the idea was, while we have a batch plant set up across the street, and while we have a contractor literally going to be working along this road, if we could get a price from them to put pavement down on the slope only, go to the top of the hill and then grind in and blend in. So you would now, the slope would be an asphalt pavement instead of chip and seal. And hopefully get a lot of years out of that. And so I met with the superintendent. They provided us a price and I got that to Nikki, and so you guys are looking at it. Now here, my question is obviously because of the price, it's more than our typical amount where we don't have to get 3 bids. How, I just don't understand how we're gonna get 3 bids on that while they're here, to do that little piece right there. But is there a way, I know we can sole source, if it's a sole source, this isn't exactly a sole source because asphalt isn't a sole source. But they are set up in our county and they are doing the work there, so it would be reasonable to have them do it in their normal course of work. Would we be able to approve that, or are we getting ourselves in a situation where there'd be a problem there?
Okay. Without getting somebody else to put an estimate on it. Well, they already went past it. So I imagine they're going all the way back and then coming to.
Yeah, they've got a bunch more work, and if you'll notice, the bid is for as long as they have their asphalt plant set up.
Oh, okay.
I specifically wanted that because I don't want it to be like, well, it's another move in now or anything. But if they move the plant, they would not do it for that price, obviously. And you guys need to decide if this is part, we talked about this is the year we're doing repairs and maintenance. This is a road that I got a call from, well, I'm trucking early on, just letting me know, hey, if you could take a look at that road. They come down it every day and it gets pretty bad. I think at some point we either need to asphalt it or put a concrete apron in or something, because with all those trucks coming down that hill and hitting their brakes, it degrades pretty quick.
So you think just putting an overlay on it would fix it? Or-
Yeah, I asked them, they actually went out there and they I asked him to do two ways. Would you do a grind and an overlay or just an overlay? And he went and looked at it. And he thought because the base is good, he thought that grinding would just add extra cost. In other words, he didn't feel any reason to take that base out of there. So it'd be a 2-inch overlay. And then they would grind into where they're gonna tie
And I
in.
won't slip when they break from down there without knowing it. I don't know.
For a mill, well, yeah, that's a good question.
You mean because it's smooth?
No, I mean, will the asphalt move because it's not milled?
Oh, no, it binds.
You know?
Yeah, if you do it properly, it binds definitely. Absolutely.
So I got this and I went and did some math on it and just conversationally, because I understand. And I compared it to that 270th Street project you did last year, which was bid in 25, I think, wasn't it? 25. And I brought that here. They had the asphalt, the hot mix at basically $100 a ton.
Okay.
And so when I did the math on this, but again, I understand it's a smaller project, it's gonna cost more. When I did my math, it came out to 239. So, I don't have anything to base that, other than I just did the conversion.
And so. So I figured by using that number, I didn't go back and look at it, I just hoping I guessed it right,
Well, you did, you were the 99.50.
but, the asphalt part would be 5,400. But I was figuring, and I assumed that a cubic foot of asphalt was about 100 pounds.
I had, how many tons? Is that what you said, Bill?
No, I was going, the sack of cement weighs 94 pounds or something, and it's supposed to be a cubic foot, something like that, right, or not? That's what I was going by, so I figured a cubic foot of material would be.
So basically, what I think you guys are saying is I think that I need to try to get another asphalt company to give us a bid or two, so we can get comparative bids. We haven't discussed the total price. It's not like anybody knows what what I'm saying. So
Right.
I think that you would feel more comfortable if we got a couple other contractors.
You could be, I mean, if it's possible.
Okay,
But-
I think it's possible because as long as we do it while they still have that batch plan. Right, so.
I mean, and what I was figuring was that was just the material, and it didn't include all the labor and the traffic sign and, the control and.
Yeah.
Cause that's probably as much.
I'd like to
Big
see,
part of it.
yeah, I'd like to see somebody else take a peek at it, because I think no doubt they do a wonderful job. When I did the math, I thought it just seemed higher than I thought it would be.
So let me get some other asphalt companies to bid it. If you guys want, are you interested in doing?
So, going back on that other thing, how much that $99 was for what?
Oh, yeah. 99 showed up on the hot mix asphalt. But see, we had 7,800 tons.
That was,
That was their bid.
How did that bid break down? Was it bid item or
that
was it lump sum?
so was it that much per ton? What you're saying, right?
Yeah, and I converted the 700 square yards into tons, comes out to 76 tons. By my math.
Okay, so the only thing I would say is when you're bidding lump sum, right? If you look at the total number and you divide the work they're gonna do by the total number, obviously that gives you a bigger price. Like on this bid form right here, there were 5 bid items that look like. They also had some alternates here. I don't know if you guys did that. But basically what they'll do is you'll take your cost to do it and you'll spread it out through these bid items. Whereas they're throwing all their cost into one bid item. So a lot of times it makes the unit look more expensive, if that makes sense.
Right.
Not just the asphalt, but they're putting their grinding machine, they're putting their crews, their trucks, all that's going in. So if they had different bid items where they actually broke that out, your cubic yard or square yard would be much lower.
Right,
That
and
makes
that's where I would,
So I counted.
Okay.
So when I did my math too, it puts that mile at a little over 361K. And I realize the highway's different, but that's being milled and overlaid and put like maybe an inch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty thin.
Yeah.
And that figures their bid is 200,000 a month.
Yeah, and I just got a price from a guy last week when we were out looking at the 3 different spots, and he was basically saying that they're looking at about $180,000 a mile right now for 2-inch overlay,
180,000.
180,000, yeah. Per mile,
Okay. Wait.
for asphalt.
Just for fun, this keys on the bid, it says, at the entry points and in the keys. It says on that piece of paper, right there. I thought maybe.
Oh, price includes milling for keys, transition at the top, and
Yep.
basically where they're tying in.
So they would mesh it together. somehow?
Exactly.
300, 2 inches.
Whatever they
Wouldn't-
need to do to.
Wouldn't leave a bump when you run onto it.
That makes sense. All right. Well, I just had this little email and I sent it. Because what we can't do, you guys couldn't see it. I just tried to verbalize what I was thinking there and understanding that it's a small project. And it's just gonna cost more per foot to do it because, you're not bidding 24 miles like they did on the state project.
So the best way to resolve this is get a couple more bids for that exact spot. We'll see what other contractors are willing to do.
Good.
Sure. Sure, I understand.
Fair enough?
Well, I'll get working on that.
Okay. Did you happen to talk to him about that little entrance? On the 150?
Yeah, their problem is they're running, I think I told you, they're running low on material, so they're not looking to do anything because they want to make sure they don't run out. They're bringing in, special mix design and in here. And so this is small enough that, but when I said, well, there's other places, kind of like,
Yeah.
they got to protect their project.
So in Willis, on further inspection, it's got some holes in it that they have to.
Mhm.
Be in.
Okay, well, we have, the gentleman that I spoke with for the bridge approaches. We can talk to him too. He's up doing the parking lot in Fall City right now, and they have their own batch plant in Nebraska.
Oh,
So he pulls out of his own batch plant.
okay. And he's got all the milling machines.
He's got everything, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, now I don't think they need, they're not like a road contractor where they're doing full grind and overlays on large scales.
So, and I hope too, Richard, I'm asking you questions. I'm not questioning you.
No,
I just don't
no,
know.
no, this is totally fine. Again, it's, even if we said, yeah, let's have this guy do it, we'd still have to go back and legally get to see if we can without extra bids. So it's one of those things where if you can catch a contractor while they're there on site, a lot of times that's the most efficient.
Right.
But we're not private. We're not a private company, so sometimes that doesn't work for us. And I'm fine with that.
And also, if he bid his job so tight that he's really not looking for any spurs off that job, maybe he wants to price it, so he doesn't really want to do it.
Could be.
You just never know. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, whenever you get a lump sum, everything's getting thrown in there, insurance, rolling stock,
Right.
everything.
Right.
Right? It's not gonna be like
Right.
10 miles or something.
So the material is just a small part of it.
All right.
Can I keep this?
Yeah, why not? Do you have any interest in seeing that email that I wrote, or does it? I'd send it to you now because I probably
Can
can't.
you send it to her and she can send it?
I already sent it to her, so
Okay.
she's I put in there my little disclaimer. If you can share this with the other commissioners, please do. So. There you go. I never know. Okay, now we have, our treasurer's here. We have you on for 2:15. Do you mind if we hold till 2:15? You want to? Okay, all right. We did this, Northeast Kansas County officials meeting is what I see next. And I saw the schedule. Yeah, I'm not interested, but no. Bill? No? Richard?
I would say no.
September 25th, we're gonna be.
I forgot about one of them. signed up for one year and I got it.
You forgot it?
That was not a good thing.
Did Austin's.
All right, a plate break waiting for you.
I joined it, but was it there?
I'm gonna roll down one question. We got this backhoe bid. It's got added to our Dropbox. Today, yes, everybody seen it?
I'm opening it right now.
Yeah. It said it's got 38,207 hours. Okay, that's real. That was my only question. That's a ton of hours. It's coming. Okay, it just says as is, where is, no warranties expressed or implied, open to inspection. Bids received no later than 4:30 on the 18th of September.
Is that even possible for it to have that many hours?
That's what she just said it was.
I know.
Check.
I'm not saying that the meter didn't say that, but
That's a lot of hours.
no,
I trust her. That'd be how many hours in a year of it. I used to know all that. Anyway, okay, is September 18th, is that long enough period to have the bids out? Do you think? Because you get in the paper and does it get on the county website? Paper won't be immediately. The website will. That gives them,
There's things rushing it, really, isn't it?
I don't know.
yeah, I mean, it's not. It's depreciated out, it's not costing us anything to sit there, so we just need to make sure it happens, whether it happens this week, next week, or whatever, it's not gonna cost us.
Okay, so. And do we need to have our road guys look at it to see if it needs anything before we put it up for auction, or we just do it the
Well,
way it is?
it's sold as is.
So don't worry about it. Okay. Okay. That's all right. Well, then do you want to change the date to something else? The bid dates?
I don't see any reason why.
So you're good with September 18th and September? Okay, all right. Well, somebody want to make a motion then to put this in process?
I'll make a motion to put the notice of accepting sealed bids for used equipment in the process.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
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 Right.
Hey, motion carried. Could we pass this along in like a county employee email to you in case somebody's interested in it that works? Can that be done? Okay, just countywide. Treasurer may need a backup. You never know. Okay, it's almost 2:15, so I'm just gonna round up. Would you like to come up here? Hello. Okay, we've had quite a meeting so far. You've got a bunch of folders here.
It's okay. The word got my phone. Nikki said that you guys have questioned on my budget for next year, that I may not have had enough budgeted for, one of my employees. Because of the new motor vehicle transaction fee that the state has implemented for us. What I have on that is all I'm asking for county. What she's gonna be paid out of that specialty fee. So, yeah, that's the.
Okay, I gotta get to that file
They
here.
added a couple of dollars onto each person's registration, right?
Yeah, it did, that's what it did, but it's not having to come out of active or active, so it's not. What the state did for us, instead of taking it out of some of the other fees they have.
I noticed that.
And it's been on titles for a while, and now. It's on it.
Okay, let me get back to here. Okay, so when I.
I'm ready to have the executive.
Yeah, if we start asking specific people, I'm just trying to do the math here, so I'd seen it.
that where,
Well, yeah, you looked at it.
Well, I'm just, what I'm doing is I'm adding, that gets, see, that number's right. And then, so I guess the question is when I add, and do we need to go in executive session with the name? We don't need to on purpose. Well, it's gonna be, I guess it'll just be, let's go.
so if we just say this employee, but we don't say a name,
Well, yes,
employee X.
I think it's just a question of one.
Right.
Well, there's actually two of them that don't make a lot of sense. But if you're saying MBT money doesn't show up here,
Uh-huh.
I'm operating under the assumption that it did. So let's just go for 5 minutes because we're going to talk about employee compensation, non-elected personnel, and it would be pay. So 5 minutes with the commissioners, executive session, commissioners, the clerk, and the county treasurer. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. 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 Motion carried. 5 minutes. This will be quick. Okay, we're out of executive session, back into regular with no binding action taken, so we have to go into executive session when we talk about non-elected personnel, so that's why we're doing that. Okay, any more questions? Did you have something for us, or are you just carrying that?
Let's break this down. I didn't know what to say.
Oh, okay.
Improve as to, did any of these recent letters that you guys received copies of go to our county? And if not, I think it should.
I'm not sure. I'd have to look. So then, Nikki, as clerk, help me out here. We have a citizen writing letters to the treasurer that comes to us. Do we just mention no names? Or? Okay, well, I just don't know if I happen to slip up. I don't.
Well, that was-
Right, right. I'm trying to play along. So we're getting some letters, or even more appropriately, you're getting some letters protesting the tax system essentially, and you're right. I'm trying to be well, so yes, actually, I've emailed one on the from the 26th. Excuse me, from the 13th.
I just didn't know if I needed to put what we're doing on or ask me a question.
Feel free, I would say. And then I'm not exactly sure how to address all that because I'm not an attorney, but I did do quite a bit of reading. And anyway, what do you want to, Bill, you got anything to say?
Not publicly.
What I'm thinking is I know him very well. I mean, do we need to visit with him? Just as people to people? Okay.
And I get that too.
Yeah, I don't think talking is ever a bad thing,
Well, I don't think.
but at some point, he's gonna have to understand that the law is the law.
The law.
And we're not gonna change the law just because he's unhappy.
That was my letter that I sent to him, was actually trying to say, I did my diligence. I checked with the registered deeds to see how the deeds were filed on your land. I checked with the courts to see about land tax and everything.
Sure.
You know, I looked into it for him and I was saying, I'm not coming up with anything. And, you know, I don't have the authority.
So the name's in the paper on the delinquent tax list.
Oh, yeah, that.
Right, that's fine, but what that means is the clock has started, right? Now that we're back into tax sale stuff. So I hate to see a person fight the battle with their back against the wall. I'm not taking a position one way or against, but I just want him to be aware that the law never stops and the clock's ticking. I mean.
And that was what I said too.
Yeah, there's
You
two
know, I
things.
hate to see someone lose their mail. I really do.
Is there a timeline for any of
I
these
do
parcels?
not have a date on this next sale yet.
Okay.
Initially, we had talked like it would be this fall, this September.
Uh-huh.
We were shooting for the fall.
Right, and now she's saying it may fall back. It's probably not gonna happen here in September. But the letters that they sent out to everybody whose property is on the upcoming sale, it says, you've got this notice, it would happen anywhere from 2 to 6 months.
Right.
So,
Do those properties fall in that list?
yes.
They do.
Yes,
Okay.
his 3 of his property
Yeah.
are on the upcoming sale. And so that's where I provided the amounts, you know, and I said, this is what I, you know, at one time you said I need to help you. My position is to give you information to help you, make you aware.
Sure.
Here's when they are due. Here is any assistance. If anybody needs state assistance, here's the amount. So I provided amounts. So.
Well.
Sorry.
Okay, so, I
But-
mean, communication has been back and forth, and he's fully aware that the properties are delinquent in property tax.
Oh.
And that they would be on the next tax sale, and the tax sale, you know, that's not something we're kicking down the road. I mean, that.
No, it's going forward, whether it hits September or not, it's still
It
gonna
be,
be,
it could be in the spring, you know, or whatever.
which,
Okay,
This is something I'd like to make sure that Austin has. We can't make up our own contracts. Pulling it offline and whiting it out, right? I think these
well,
are not binding, and I think he thinks they are.
Right. And again, I'm not an attorney, but I know he's very passionate about it.
Yes.
You know. But I also know that that's, the legal system doesn't play around. So, okay,
I just don't know what further.
feel free to reach out to Austin. I sent that email on the 13th with a letter.
Yeah, and I had sent one also.
And that had your response. You had a letter there, and then I just forwarded what you sent us. So that's all I did.
Yeah, I not to reach out to them, but I feel that is my duty to
Sure.
say, because if nobody responds to me, then, oh, okay, it's on the fax it, and
Right.
wham. So that's why I want to say, I can't stop that.
I also think it wouldn't hurt to have our county attorney send a letter also from the county attorney. Just basically saying, we've received this, you've been in contact with our county treasurer. The taxes are delinquent on, name the parcels and say, unfortunately, unless those taxes are paid before the tax sale, it will be on a tax, comes from the county attorney, and that's like,
Is that in his wheelhouse though, since we have our own county council?
Or the
I'm sorry, county,
Yeah,
I don't think it needs to go to attorney, I'm sorry. I
meant
think our
different.
county counselor can do it, absolutely.
Okay.
But I do think that we should send a letter. Because then also, if he starts in on you, you can say, look, you've received an official letter,
Right,
an official response from Brown County. And
yeah.
because he's gonna probably try to, get you into dialogue, and you can just say, hey, I can't. No, exactly.
Something about that says no, stop. He mentioned about bringing a lawyer in, so I thought, oh, well, good, maybe the lawyers can talk to each other, but.
Yeah, well, this has been debated and debated and debated by thousands of people. And it's never held water.
Yeah.
So
It does get a lot of internet traffic.
it gets a lot of internet traffic, of course.
And I'm not coming down on him in any way. No disrespect whatsoever. I just hope we know, how serious this is. Okay,
That's my, the seriousness of it from both sides.
okay.
Okay. You had another question for me about.
So I have actually, Betty, I have a series of questions that I just feel like if I asked you, I didn't give you a chance to prepare. Could I? And they're just ranging different topics like driver's license for disabled vets to Schedule Fs to some other things. Could I just send you an email so you could think about them? I don't just put you on the spot and maybe have you come back?
Yeah.
Would that be all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next week is what I'd like to do. Yeah,
Okay.
and that would give me, anyway, that would just be better, I
Do
think.
you want me to reply to your email?
You
So
can,
that way,
or
if you have any further questions?
I have one that I'd like to ask right now,
Yeah.
because there's a number of them that obviously people contact the commissioners when they're not happy.
Right.
Right. And so we're trying to come up with questions, and like what he's doing is he's trying not to just throw a bunch of questions where you have to go get it. But I do have one on the Schedule F. Why is it so hard to get, when you fill out the form that the Department of Revenue tells you to fill out, if you do not have a Schedule F, why does it take so long to finally get that through the process?
It's not gonna take long. We have, if we want exemptions and whatever, there's burden of proof. We have to know, that the State Department says this is the form they want signed. So we have to know who is signing, is every Tom, Dick, and Harry just gonna walk in the door, sign off and.
But wouldn't the burden of proof be, this is my license, this is who I am, and this is the form that the Department of Revenue gave me to fill out? I mean,
But if
what
we don't
more
know who
burden?
people are, so that's what this was discussed at the KCTA meetings. And that's what I was asking. I said, what's burden of proof? Because we've had so many people, especially with side by sides more than anything. They want to get out of paying sales tax on that. And so they say, well, I use it for agricultural usage. They don't. And
But
it's-
who decides that? If there's a document that says that they're committing fraud by signing that, if it's not used for agriculture, who's the deciding factor on it?
It would, it comes, the county, the state, so that's why we are being proactive on that and saying, okay, you're farm exempt, and this is good. And then that.
But a lot of people don't have scheduled Fs. If they're farmers.
Majority of the farm do. This is the first situation that we've had.
So if you're a sole proprietor or sole proprietor, you do not have a Schedule F, and there's lots of farmers that are farming that way. And so,
They do.
Yeah, I do.
They do. The Schedule F with your farming, we file that, and that is just the easiest way that then, we go, yep.
so in this particular case, so you have CPAs doing work in Brown County. And the CPAs sometimes, by virtue of how the farm is being farmed, sometimes they'll, like in this particular case, they'll say, well, you're not actively engaged, which is not true. And so they'll say, we're not going to do a Schedule F for you. But there are quite a few people that farm that don't have Schedule Fs. So
Probably.
so the Department of Revenue says if you don't have a Schedule F, then you have to fill out that 22C.
Well,
whatever.
everybody has to sign that form
Right.
anyway.
And so I'm just trying to figure out, because in this particular case, and the reason I'm asking is, it took 6 trips down here
Okay.
to get
Now,
that taken care of.
Why did it take 6 trips?
That's why I'm
Because
asking.
we refused to use a phone, pick it up, call, and say, have you heard back from the state yet? Or where we could have said, no, not yet, we'll call you. He came in one day and wanted to speak with me. I was at training, and the clerk that had been helping him, we were in to keep that training that day. He was upset that we weren't there. A phone call before making the trip in would have stopped those extra trips.
So-
Because it would have said, well, you want to talk to the treasurer, she's not here. She'll be back tomorrow.
Okay.
Or-
I guess you're looking at it one way, I'm looking at another. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get it to where if we're requiring something that we shouldn't be, that we don't do that. And in this particular case, I called the Department of Revenue,
Uh-huh.
and the Department of Revenue said, no, this is the form you use.
That's.
They printed out the form, sent it to him, and said, take that form in there. He also went to the CPA. The CPA looked at it and said, this is the form you use, take it back. And each time he did that, he was told, no, without a Schedule F, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So what happened was the last time he drove to Topeka, and is it Connie? Connie said, you're exempt, absolutely. I will send an email right now or call them. But the frustration is it takes 6 trips to get to that point, and nothing ever changed. They've been farming for 120 years. He tried to do the form the first time. I'm just trying to make sure that we're not putting things in the mix that don't need.
What
to
does your county office, in your authority as an elected official, do you have the ability to require documents that maybe Donphan County or Nemaha County wouldn't to?
Require those because we have to have the burden of proof.
Okay,
And that's just the easiest way to be fair, because I know you farm, but I don't know they farm. Say, oh, you're okay, but you have to.
so this was one of the questions I wanted to ask you by email, but we went ahead and we opened the can here, so we're just gonna see where it flows. So the Schedule F, I've talked to you about it within the last year, because I don't like it because that's my entire financial sitting there.
Yeah.
And I don't like handing that out.
Just look, say, okay, this is the current one.
Okay, well, that's new. I didn't know. So when I call the Kansas County Treasurers Association president, she's Pot County, and she's like, we don't do, we don't require, but if I hear this right, that doesn't matter because your office has the ability.
Yeah, every office can have their own office.
Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is be confrontational, but be nice about it. Because I don't like it, and I think it's an onus on the people coming into your office to prove, when they've already more than likely have proved wherever they bought this thing, that they've already said, well, I'm gonna fill out this sales tax exemption form, it's a consumer agri production or whatever use, and I'm gonna sign my name to that. I'm like, well, isn't that the burden of proof for the IRS? Isn't that good enough?
It's they sign the form, but we have people who are not farmers that sign that form.
Sure.
And so, yeah, it means they're committing fraud. So how do we call, one out and say, I think you're being fraudulent on this? Because that's what the state says, that is the burden of proof on my office. They said, well, if you don't think they're right, then you have to call them out, we need to prove it to you.
So the buck stops at the county treasurer as far as state
And so-
sales tax.
by saying, okay, farmers file this, bring this in, so we have. That is protected in our office. Now, the other thing, like in this particular case, it's not, it's filed as a partnership for profit. And so that was new for us to see that being filed that way, as prices getting paperwork. And because when he called, he came in the first day, and honestly, the first day, we said, we'll do it for you. Just pay the sales tax. We have the paperwork, send it in with all your proof, they'll send you the refund if you didn't want to go. Excuse me, if you don't want to go get this paperwork. So we offered to do it day one that way.
But then you're paying for something that you shouldn't be paying for.
Right, and then you're getting a refund on it if you shouldn't be paying.
But why should we pay for something that we shouldn't pay for?
Okay, because we didn't know. We didn't have our burden of proof, so that's why we were requesting that. So he said, well, I'll go home and get those documents. Well, then I believe he called and said, well, I don't have that.
Schedule F.
Yeah,
Right.
and so we were kind of confused because we've not known a farmer to not have one. And so that time, my clerk did say, well, people again, let's look. And she told me, she said that have one. Surely it's over. But you know, we really was expecting it. And then the paperwork came in and she's like, there's not one here. So she called CPA, and that's when we learned, well, it's filed this way, it's filed this way instead of this way. Well, that confused us too, because that's the first one of those we've come across. And so we were reaching out to the state. How does this work? What do we need to do here? And first off, then they said, well, no, that's not going to qualify because of the partnership for profit. So it's like it's a business instead of a, you know, not for hire private farm. And so then I'm really simplifying that. But and then when we said, well, this is about the trailer and everything, then the state came back and said, no, and just having to process it there, pay it, and then we'll do the refund on our end. That's what they told us then. There are like 16 or 17 different sales tax exemptions or partial exemptions that people are eligible for. And there's only about 5 we can process at the county lot. So we thought, oh, this is falling under one of those. So again, when we came back, we said, yeah, we can process this. They said for us to process this and pay this and then send this in, and they sent paperwork, we gave them paperwork. And you know, you'll get your refund back. But again, we didn't want to do it, or we didn't want to do it that way and everything. And like I say, I understand.
Yeah,
I
you can see why I
understand the
would. I wouldn't want to pay it and
Sir, too, is the state really gonna
Yeah.
refund?
So listen, and we're trying to get information. So we're not,
And I'm trying to offer.
I understand that. So don't take this, we're not trying to attack you or anything. We're trying to get information. But there are certain things that make no sense to me. So for instance, you have a 120-year-old farm and you have a grain trailer that can only be used for a farm. And it took 6 trips to get the exemption. I can understand side by sides and I can understand certain pieces of equipment, but there are certain pieces of equipment. A grain trailer is only used for hauling grain. And that family has been farming for 120 years. We know, you see where I'm getting at?
Right.
He's not one of those people that's like, I don't believe this guy's farming or whatever. So you can see how it gets frustrating because it's not a special piece of equipment. I mean, it's like saying
The equipment, that's why.
meaning that it can only be used for one thing, for farming.
Right.
And
yes.
you're supposed to be able to get a tax exemption for farm equipment. So it just seemed like it was it just seemed like it took way too long, and we're trying to figure it out. And there were comments made to him that said that the state says you can do it, but our office policy says you can't. And that's where he asked me, and I said, I have no idea, because I know you do have things that you can do in your department. And you kind of explained that. So that's part of this conversation is, are there things that allow you to say, I'm going to make a policy that we won't do it this way or that way?
Yeah, we have to follow state regulations, statutes, just like everybody else, but we can have office policies in the state. You know, if we have to have burden of proof, that's the way we could do the burden of proof, is asking for that document, because it's a very plain and simple, it's pretty black and white. There's always gonna be, you know, a gray area on somebody's, like, say, this is the first situation like this we crossed. The day that, is the day that it was said the state requires this. When the one clerk said that, 'cause that's the day I was gone. My
Right,
deputy jumped in, she said, no, it's our policy on that, you know, she did correct the other one. Because it came out, just like saying attorney instead of counselor,
right.
it just came out. But I'm gonna repeat again, 6 trips didn't have to be made, because phone calls could have been in the process. Now, and just like you said, CPAs don't always understand the farming or this or that. Some of the gals in my office don't always understand. They said a trailer, it's a trailer. Well, when it came down to, I was not involved in the whole thing. Grain trailer, it's like, wait, that is different. So it is, it's a misunderstanding. And I think he said he's gonna have a CPA file differently next year, maybe he will, maybe he won't. But now we understand that, and once we got to the state, you know, grain trailer, this and everything, they said, oh, you know, yes, you can do that at your office. So we've got that situation.
Okay.
correct.
And you can understand why a person, an individual,
Oh, I can
doesn't
understand
want
the
to write a
frustration.
check just to wait for the government to give him his check back when he knows he doesn't have to pay taxes on it.
Right, and I
So
understand.
that it causes a frustration.
It is. But like I say, you know, we were working on it, we were trying to help and. You know, when at first the sales tax, we said, hey, we've got a working farm here, but they don't have a schedule F wise. And she thought we were talking about a side by side, because that's usually where they get most of their questions with farm exempt or not. You know, and we had to be like, no, this is what we're talking about. And so, yeah, there was a little. You're doing things by email, of course, email, then you have, you know, things you print off, but. My clerk got his email and phone number and sent it to the states. Can you please talk to him? Can you tell us what we need to do? And then she came back and said, yes, process him as an ag exempt. We said, okay, and that's when we said why, and so she brought, you know, and we said for future, because since he didn't have a schedule F and it's a for-profit type thing,
Mhm.
I think that's where it continues to my clerk as well, but.
Okay, so what it sounds like, to memorialize this conversation, okay? This particular case was a little one-off for you guys.
Yes,
Okay, but going forward, if that exact scenario came in, you guys would not say no.
with another grain trailer.
With another
specific,
grain
but
trailer.
like a flat.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about that.
Those all fall
I'm
different.
talking about an actual ag piece of equipment.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is corrected in our office. Because say it's misunderstanding by not understanding what this for profit was. And so you want to send that to the state. So,
Okay. So I appreciate you explaining it.
ah,
Okay, and again, this isn't an attack on your office or anything. I'm trying to understand. Because when people come to me and they say, why is this happening? And I look at it and go, I have no idea. I'm the type of person that I will look into it. I will make the calls. And so I just want you to understand why we're talking.
yeah, it's fine. Like I say, this was a different situation. I never heard of that either on a farm. Usually you own the ground, you rent it out. Everything goes. So this was just a thing.
Since we're doing this and it's going, I mean, it's pretty friendly. I mean, that's, I think, a good word. It's informative and I love this. So I looked at like ATVs are usually taxable. Is a side by side an ATV or is it a?
They all fall under an ATV, UTV category, but. An ATV is considered your four.
So we've always paid sales tax on that stuff.
Uh-huh,
I mean, we just
Yes.
always have.
yes, on a four-wheeler. A UTV, which is a side-by-side, to qualify for sales tax exemption,
Okay.
it has to be. Bench seat. Two-person bench seat with a dump bed. Now, a lot of them are bucket seats but you have people that are buying the ones that are 4-seaters, 6-seaters and say,
But
oh.
that's a state thing, right?
Well, everything's a state thing.
No, what I'm getting at is, when you say that, you're saying the state is basically classifying what a UTV is. We're not, Brown County's not.
Right,
Okay,
but see, on our side,
right.
it says to be exempt, it must be 100% farm use. So if you bring us in one of those razors or something, say, oh, well, I drive it, you know, my husband drives it to and from, he works for a farmer, he drives it there, okay. That's occasionally, our stuff says it has to be 100% farm use to be sales tax. Now, the appraiser side of things, which now it's obsolete,
Right.
it's doing away with that, it said majority use for them to have a property tax exemption. So, and that gets people mad.
So if it's bought in state, they should have paid sales tax at the point of purchase, right?
They
If
should
it was
have,
new or used at a
they
deal.
should have. But as I will repeat, I have seen people come in and I can name names, but I won't.
No, and that's fine.
They
I'm
come
just,
in, and they have exempted them at the dealership. Because the dealerships, and we brought this up to the payroll, this is what dealerships are telling, so it's gone to the dealer review and things, they're supposed to be cracking down on these dealerships. The dealership flat out tells people, well, you're gonna drive through your yard and water your trees, right? Well, you know, okay, so it's now ag exempt. Oh, that's not. And so, yeah, people are coming in stating it's ag exempt and it's not.
so, I mean, we are debating the finer points of this, which I enjoy, actually, I like it. But, what I'm trying to figure out though still is and I'll just talk for me, as Lucas Heinen, the farmer, how can I come in when I bring like my 2290 in the IRS form, my ag exemptions, my mileage, isn't that right, the 2290?
2293.
The heavy truck, ag exemption, 7,500 miles or less. So when I bring in to renew, that's when I have to bring my Schedule F. Well, aren't I like doubling up the burden of proof? Because by the IRS, I've already signed my name that that's what I'm doing. I'm ag exempt, but I still need to bring my Schedule F.
Schedule F is on the purchase instead, not your renewal, which is what your 2290 is. And the state tells us you have to have, and we actually do look stuff up for people. The state says you're supposed to bring these documents every time you walk in that door. Now, if you've already brought in your 2290 and you've renewed 2 trucks and said, I can afford this one, I'll be in next month, and you come back and you apply for upgrade. Because here at Brown County, we do try to help people. We'll go back in and look up.
Because you scan it
Just
in.
scan this in
Yeah.
and we will pull for it. State says they're supposed to bring it in every.
So is it new that I don't need to bring my Schedule F for that 2290? Because in this year I didn't, but the years past I did. I
The
had to.
2290, if you are over 54 on that truck. Anything that's over 54 has to have the current 2290 to renew those heavyweight trucks. So if you are 54 and under,
You don't
you
need,
don't need that.
but the Schedule F part, that's
The
what I'm,
Schedule F is what is our policy that we're asking for new purchases when we're trying to be exempt from paying sales tax.
okay, so I don't need it anymore for the renewal, because that's really the only time I'm writing it in.
And a Schedule F can be redacted.
Yes, we can just see it. We say,
Okay.
this is Lucas Tynan for the current year.
Okay,
Thank you. And if we are scanning a piece of paper in that says Schedule F. Schedule F was provided.
Okay.
but financial portion of it can be redacted legally.
I mean, it can be, I guess, if people don't want us to see that. Now, it's, you know, and I get it, but you know how much of your financials we see in.
Well, sure, but I don't like
It's-
volunteering. I'm pretty sensitive to that information. I
Yeah,
assume you would be
I-
too with your own.
All of this, the amount of personal information that comes through our
Right.
office, that, yeah, if. Especially when it comes to vehicles, if that is given out, and that's why people get mad at us, they call on the phone. Hey, I lost my sheet, what's it gonna cost me to renew my truck? Sorry, I can't tell you. Like,
Over the phone.
state statute, right?
Yeah.
I can't tell you that. But I can tell you, if you go to the Kansas Department of Revenue website, you can reprint your paper right there. So I can tell you how to find it. But I
No, that
can't
makes sense.
do it for you and I can't look it up. And that's the problem, every situation, so minutely different. You know, you buy this one out at the dealership and then people are like, why am I having to pay more sales tax? That dealership was out of county or out of state, and you know, you have to pay yours and. There's just little things like this and just like the issue. It's just the way that paperwork was filed. But
So we've taken a half hour of your time, and I mean, well, actually a little longer. And I appreciate it. If I was going to memorialize it, I say I have a better understanding for why you want that paperwork, but I still don't like it. So that's Lucas Hine in the farm. So that Schedule F to me is almost sacred. And there's a lot of numbers on there that I just see nobody else got to see them, especially if I didn't have to buy.
But we agree you can redact those numbers.
You can, but I also learned that I no longer need it for my renewal, which was the last time I brought it in.
yeah,
I understand a new purchase, that makes a little more sense to me. However, if I sign my name to that ag exemption, sheet at the point of sale, I feel like that's already the burden of proof, because, I mean, it's not on you, it's on me if I lie.
but that's sure not this person. But all these people that are signing the ag exempt at the dealership that are not agricultural
Sure.
exempt.
I just wasn't aware that it fell upon your office, and I was trying to find in the statutes there that it fell upon the treasurer's office to make people accountable for the ag exemption on sales tax. I didn't know that was your incumbent on you.
Point. Not now, but not today. So at one point, they say, well, you have to make sure this is correct. But you're not listening. Like,
So
well,
when
wait a
I,
minute.
when I
They
spoke
say-
to the Department of Revenue, the lady that I spoke to specifically said, you are signing your name and you understand that you could be audited. And I said, I'm 100% aware that I can be audited. And she said, it's up to you to sign that. And that was the Department of Revenue. And to me, that seems reasonable. I mean, we have individual rights, right?
Right.
And
Oh,
it's a government for the people, by the people, so.
It's just unfortunate, but, I know it's a big shock for everybody, but we get lots in that office,
Oh, sure.
and
Sure.
so that's why we're just trying to find a way to treat everybody equally. And fair and be doing our due diligence.
Okay, well. Thank you for,
Yeah, thanks. I mean, really, you
Explain-
spent a lot of time on that. I appreciate it.
I'm. It's funny. No,
You got something, Bill?
Yeah, I got a little bit. Cause the state messes things up so much. I'm about to the opinion that we need to look for something besides property taxes, because there's so many exemptions. Like on your side by side and all that stuff. Where do you stop? I mean, it's not just lately, it's been going on for 50 years, but it's just a mess. So. I'm just stating my opinion. I'm not
He's
saying
being
anything against you.
I was just confused at the comment, I guess, I was trying to figure out where we're going.
Well, because the Constitution said your right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, which is property, and so if the state can take your property away because you don't pay taxes. I mean, can they take your life away because you don't pay taxes? I mean, where's it in? It just goes round and round.
I don't make the.
Yeah, I'm not,
You make some of them. You do.
Well, our office policies, I don't make state rules.
I'm complaining more about the state legislatures than I am you. I mean, I'm not complaining anything about you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the way government has worked over the years, and I don't think it's government's made a lot of mistakes. A lot
Yeah,
of
there's a lot of things.
lot of exemptions for people that probably didn't. Where do you stop? Once you make one, where do you stop?
Sure.
Well, and that's it, yeah, you make these exemptions, and that's some of the.
You're a
the
flat
fact that-
tax guy.
Yeah, the fact that they stopped taxing the toys, that's gonna hurt all of us real terms in a big way. And. So, okay.
All right. So I still have a few more questions that I'll email to you, but this was perfect. I appreciate the dialogue, the exchange. And I mean, you really, again, I'm not trying to be sarcastic or anything. I enjoyed the conversation, but I'm still not happy. So that's okay. So there you go. But I appreciate you taking the time to tell us.
so the only other thing, BJ, is do we have any update then from Glenn Osterman? I know we targeted this fall, we targeted September, October. Is there any kind of an update as to where it lies right now? Okay,
I need to ask them, this, if we were still closed now, the other one, I know that deeds aren't back yet,
okay.
so.
So I'm just, and the only reason I'm doing that is I just do not want to get into that where we just kind of let it go, because,
They're not.
and I'm not saying you are, and I'm not saying they are. I know that sometimes it just takes constant, hey, where are we at? Give me an update, give me an update, and that seems to prod things on a little quicker,
Yeah, and I would ask them again.
if you could.
I had asked questions, but I'd say we're still trying to finalize things from May.
Right.
And I.
But listen, it's a messy, messy process, and the fact that they did the job they did, I think is pretty remarkable. I think that came about pretty well. And so I'm not complaining about them at all. I'm just saying, this is the problem when the county lets this many properties go delinquent for this many years. It falls on the current people. Yeah.
In fact, even talking with the court, this, we've never done it this way before. How are we gonna process that? I can't do it. So we may need to check with some other district courts that process it this way, you know, instead of having the last 3 years minimum bid.
Yeah.
Taxes, which is what they've done in the past, which is fine. You know, now we did it. Okay,
Right.
let's just get it.
We need to push through, just like the impounded vehicles. We're pushing through it. They're gonna be gone.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do it in the
that's
least
what I was gonna
amount
ask
of
about,
hurt.
update on that, Chair.
The update is that, we contacted the head of the KHP that does, because you had said that in one of the emails that they need to come out. He couldn't figure out that why. He said, I'll come up and do it, but I don't need to.
Yeah.
So we went and sat down and he said, you guys are the only county that's doing it this way. I don't understand it. So
Else forgot.
again, it's a messy process. So I said, however we got here, we're here. The last one was done 2012. It's unacceptable.
Right.
So we are moving forward. He came up with, this is what I would do. We ran it by the county attorney, said that's a great idea. And now we're moving to get a disposition of disposal. We're gonna dispose every one of those things. So go on.
That's why I said the best way. I thought,
Whatever the cheapest,
I said the best way be, you get some out of state person that wants them, just.
well, we're gonna do whatever is the most cost effective and efficient way that the county can get rid of those cars.
Yeah.
Because it won't be the first time, or it won't be the last time we do it. And I just don't want to spend a bunch of money
Right,
on something that's going to a salvage yard. That's crazy.
yeah, no, I agree too. Like I say, I sent the information to the state and said. What are we missing here? What's going on? And so I came back with the information that they provided, and I kept everybody in the loop with that. So,
Okay,
okay,
thank you, appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
yeah, follow for your email.
Right on. Okay, and then you said, speaking of tax sale, I'll just send Michelle a short little email and say, when you have a spare moment, can you give us a short update on how all things tax sale in Brown County are progressing?
Perfect.
Fair enough. Boom, that's done. Okay, that I think was time well spent, but it was a lot of time. So did that, as I walk down through here, I got check marks for everything. I asked about. Okay, we talked about the MOU with the Kickapoo tribe. And we've got the Iowa tribe trying to get together with them. Is that right? Is that Bridget? Sac and Fox, I'm sorry, my mistake. Sac and Fox. I apologize. Have we heard anything on that? No? Okay, so then we need to reach out really to Kickapoo tribe, to Iowa and I guess, is it the Potawatomi? Is that right?
I don't want them tracking area.
Yeah, yeah, okay, so Bridget talked about the 4 tribes. That's the 4 tribes, correct? Okay, so how do we go about making connections? I stopped at the Kickapoo office when I first became commissioner and gave them my business card. I just need to stop down there again. I'd like to reach out to these people so we can, to these groups, so we can kind of get rolling.
So I will send Nikki a text or email that I got from somebody that is part of that tribe. With a name of the person that is probably the best one to get going, and she can send it to you.
Okay,
That works?
okay, all right. Are we talking for which tribe?
The Iowa.
For the Iowa, okay.
Yes.
All right, excellent. All right, and I'll try my best and I'll call Bridget again and I'll reach out to these other 2 and just see what I find out. I can't hurt just to get the information out there. The next one I had was there any follow-up on the RHID that we need to know about? Was there?
So, you know, the city did meet and they did rescind the RHID, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else?
The developer had spoken, the developer is gonna be at the city meeting tonight.
Okay,
They will be talking a little bit more about
okay. I understood he was coming out.
it. And I think that's probably the easiest way to,
So it's as far as the RHID thing, we've done what we were gonna do.
Correct.
They pulled it, and now they're
Correct.
back in
Correct.
discussion. Yes.
And they have the right to, they can develop RHID districts all the time. They have the right to do it next year or the year after. I mean, and unfortunately, the way it comes down is that within that county, the county commission and the school board commission also have to say, yes, we're foregoing our portion. So if maybe the next one makes sense and we do, I can't speak to that until it would happen. But,
Okay, well, that answers that.
so I'll just let you know, I talked to the developer again. And he wanted to know kind of my read on it. And I said, well, it's a bridge too far, the 25 years. We've already done an NRP that is 10 years long. Okay. And the 25 years doesn't work for us. We feel it harms us financially. And so that same meeting, I told him, you know, you have a good, it looks like he has a good business model. He's building these units in other places that look like nice units. Pretty much said, there are lots in Hiawatha that you could go build on that you wouldn't have any of the cost of all the infrastructure. He thought that was interesting. I think he's pursuing that. Which would not require an RHID district, and it wouldn't require the county or the school board getting involved. You start day one without infrastructure costs because all your utilities are at curbside. So see how that goes. I don't.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. All right. Then the last thing I had was trying to get some more clarity on the data center resolution that we had. Last week I talked about having.
So Bill Bonner Schmidt called me today
All right.
and asked if he could pop in Thursday with some clarification. Because he was obviously either watching it or he got back, and he feels that the way they've drawn it up, it does clarify that, what we were talking about.
Okay, good.
And I said, wonderful. If it does, that's perfect. It'll be easy if, you know, so he's gonna pop in on Thursday.
They're perfect. He called me when I was gone, and we talked a little bit about it. I didn't have it in front of me, and when I read this, he said it's in there, and I believe him, but I want to get a point to it because on my own, I just can't. You know, I'm not an attorney, so he'll come in on Thursday. We'll talk about it. So that checks that off the list.
That was in last week's stuff.
The
Resolution?
17th, yeah, the resolution was in the
Okay.
August 17th. I was also, I guess this is just conversational, but I got a phone call we have a state committee, noxious weed member. A member of the state committee on noxious weeds is Jack Geiger from Robinson. And I had no idea he was on that committee, but he is, and we talked about some West Pediza. And so just informational. He sent me an email with his contact. And actually the guy in Manhattan, Jason Vetter, he's worked for the Department of Ag. He would be the state contact on that. I can see if I can forward that on. So you never know until they tell you. That's good. Good to know because he's pretty informed about all things noxious weed.
Yep. And he hung up the phone and then called me.
Oh,
He probably reiterated everything he said to you to me. And basically, they were driving around looking at some areas that he thought were of concern. I told him the same thing, that there's areas that he thinks we need to know about to bring them to our attention, and we'll do what we can do.
yeah. Okay. So I think that's great. I'm going to forward this to Nikki. This will be this is an email from, hopefully it's from Jack Geiger with his contact stuff and a link to, a link to the statutes and to the director of the state. Okay, that takes care of that. I got check marks by everything. What else?
So I had called Nikki about a brick out front. There's a veteran who has their name on a brick, and his son had sent an email to Kurt Walden. And Kurt called me, and the name was spelled wrong. It's supposed to be Glenn, and it says Clem, I think, on it. And so I had asked Nikki if she knew, and maybe we can enlist the help of the public. At one point, there was a project here at the courthouse where they engraved veterans' names on bricks, and they were placed out here. And so what I'm trying to find is, does anybody know what company did that so we could remove that brick and have it correct? So I don't know, Bill, if you ever remember anything like that, but if you hear of anybody,
it's just people, birds that have died, isn't it? These out here are all people that were killed in action or something.
yeah, and this is actually, there's a picture of it there. And it should say Glenn Jameson and it says Clem. So I don't know if I sent that to you or not, Nikki, but anyways, it's just one of our bricks out here. Yes, I believe it's people that have lost their life in battle. And so if she was gonna try to look into it, I've asked a bunch of people around. If we can't find anybody, then I'm gonna try to find a company that will do it and we can replace the brick and get it corrected.
Well, Don Horton or, quick, but they're still doing it, I think.
Okay. Well, if you guys don't hear any back, I'll look into that and
Okay.
it'd be nice to be able to send this gentleman an email saying it's been corrected and
Oh, you
here it
bet.
is. And
You bet. Okay. Nikki, do you have anything for us?
I mean, I think if we tell the public why, right? I mean, we're not hiding anything. They can come to the meeting.
Yeah.
So
We just can't, yeah, no video.
I think between taking minutes and doing that and all that other stuff,
Probably
we
not.
probably don't need to have you be the videographer or whatever. Right? Or we could just cancel Dallas's vacation request. Just an option.
You think outside the box, don't you? Okay. We're looking in September, not the 24th. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, if you, and you'll put that up, we don't have, I've got an August calendar. Well, we could, what do you guys think?
17th is fine with me. Does it work for you guys?
September 17th,
Is it too late?
I don't think so.
that's a Friday.
It's September 17th is a Thursday.
I'm sorry, I had cross conversation. Did you say something? Was it too late to get it? And that's enough, right?
I think so.
That's fine with me.
So since Chris isn't here, we'll just have to let him know that so he can get it out.
That's for the public, right?
Yep. And then I've had several people ask if I'd just call them to let them know, because some obviously people say, well, I don't get the newspaper and I don't listen to the radio, so. I know. So I'm gonna just make some calls with people that said, let me know the next time we have one. Hopefully.
I had talked a few weeks ago about having Tim Winger come in.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because that might be a little different. All right, anything else?
Yes. One other thing. So. The. The township that has the bridge that was hit. It's a railroad bridge. It was low, it was swept. Okay. So, there was conversation back and forth as to whether or not the state. If the liability falls within the county or the township that the bridge is in. And I've heard, and I've talked to Austin about it, he feels that. That it falls within the township. There's also other people that feel that it falls within the county. So if you remember when that accident happened, we made the decision. To let's get some signs out there and correct the problem to prevent anybody else from having that accident. Okay, and we did that on our dime, we installed it. We were not admitting fault or anything like that, we were just saying, we want to know there's a problem and it can be resolved for a reasonable cost. So. The individual that had the loss has a deductible that he had to pay. And so he had approached the township, and I think he's maybe have talked to you one time, and he talked to me about it. And so then the officers from the township talked to me. We've kind of thrown it out on the table that they would split the cost of us of that deductible. And they want to know if we're willing to do that. And so we can talk about actual amounts, Nikki, because it's not county, right? Right, I understand, but we can name the amounts and, okay. I'm just making sure that we don't have to. So the amount is $5,000 and the township is would be willing to split it with the county. That would make the individual that had the loss whole. My personal belief is that I don't think it's fair that somebody goes down and hits a bridge that's clearly low at the time, and they're driving a legal vehicle and it causes them out-of-pocket expenses. So I do believe that he should be made whole on that because insurance only pays everything less than deductible.
Are we still in limbo on actually mine? Opinions
go both ways, yeah. But I think it's a reasonable compromise between the county and the township. To step up, it'd be a $2,500 cost to both of us.
Yeah. Okay, I'll make a motion. We pay $2,500 towards that.
I'll second you.
So moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Well, we have to figure out where it's coming out. It would come out of the road and bridge. She's wanting to know how we would fund it.
Oh, well, I did, okay.
So to kind of back up a little bit, so we put signs up,
We did.
and I thought we was going to put a sign at the corner north of where the bridge was. But I didn't see a sign there. Is there a sign somewhere else?
They got taken away.
Already?
It's been removed.
Okay, that's why I didn't see it.
It's correct.
You mean stolen? Okay.
The signs that were put up, we have pictures of them when they went in the day that they did it. They were there. Somebody has removed one of the signs.
The south one.
And one of the road and bridge guys contacted some farmers around there saying, does anybody know where the sign is? It's about a $35, $40 sign. So it's not like we're not going to spend a whole lot of time trying to find out. But
Right.
So what did the sign say?
basically warned the
Low bridge.
low bridge ahead and then gave the height.
Okay, I was just looking at. My assumption would be it'd come out of road and bridge. Unless I'm wrong. Or should it come out of commissioner?
I think either way, I mean, I don't, the amount. I would, if somebody was asking me where I would apply it, I would apply it as road and bridge.
Like miscellaneous? There's miscellaneous under commodities, the tires, oil repairs and miscellaneous, and there's bridges.
It'll be to the business. Yes.
So the reason I just moved ahead with that was I figured in the spirit of cooperation, we've talked about it for a long time. And if the township, if nobody seems to know who actually is liable for it, or there's mixed opinion, splitting it down the middle sounds reasonable and fair. But I think we acknowledge that it shouldn't be the guy that drove under there, under the low bridge that wasn't involved. And right now,
Correct.
it all falls on that person.
That's correct.
So. Do we need, I guess in the motion still on the table, we haven't voted on it, but. Is taking it out of Road and Bridge, is that okay? Cause I'll add that to my motion. And then do we need to specifically list where it comes out of Road and Bridge or just Road and Bridge in here? So I would add or make an amendment, whatever that it would be payable out of Road and Bridge. Would you, since you seconded it, are you friendly to that?
I am.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. We amended it to come out of Road and Bridge. So any more discussion on it?
That was my only question. I didn't see the sign.
Okay, and then I guess, it's no secret who hit it. Do we need to mention by name where it's gonna go? And the township involved? Okay, so my motion that's on, I'm just gonna enhance it again. So we're working with Walnut,
No.
no, said it wrong, Padonia. Say it wrong. Hamlin, I keep guessing wrong. We are working on this low bridge in Hamlin Township. My apologies. So we have decided as a commission to split the cost of it would be Peterson Seeds deductible because their seed tender hit the low bridge. And I guess I'm gonna just clarify my motion. So still on the table is that moved and seconded to pay the $2,500, which is half of half of Peterson Seeds insurance deductible. And that money's gonna come out of the Road and Bridge fund. Makes sense? Yes. All right, appreciate you working with me. So it's been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. That should be done now. And with that money will be some sort of explanation, I'm sure. And then the books are closed on this, right?
Correct.
Okay. I like it. I appreciate you got all actually doing the work. You checked it out. I've been down there. I didn't see the signage stolen. And you may have a lot of phone calls. I took one or two. But took a long time. We got it taken care of to the betterment, I hope, of everyone involved. Healed one up and then now the bridge is clearly marked. So if it happens again, it's not because we didn't mark it,
Right.
do what we needed.
We're doing our due diligence
Okay.
to prevent it from happening.
So we need to order another sign and get it back up there.
Tammy's already.
She's already done it. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't understand her name, the right township there. Okay, is there anything else?
It's my last comment.
That's all I had. And so we have a work session scheduled for Thursday with the pre-inspection meeting for this bridge on 1/7. Right, and that's at 1 o'clock. All right, and then we'll take some time after that, I guess, to discuss a few things. Do we need to? Is there anything else, I guess, to come before the commission before we adjourn?
I don't have anything.
All right, well, I move we adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right.
Okay, motion carried. We're adjourned. 3:22.